So guys, here we are, MMA UK News, Stoomboy, as always, MMA UK BJJ show. So talking about grappling then, so we're going to be heading over to the Dunny Mace Art Centre, that's in Port that's going to be Saturday the 3rd of September. Now it's going to be Grapple Queens, so that's obviously headlined by Grapple Kings. So Grapple Kings obviously is their first ever female event, so only fair they made it Grapple Queens for the evening. So we're going to see some of the top female grapplers from all over are going to be on this card on the evening, all the way from blue belt right up to black belt. So it's going to be an absolute joy to watch. I mean, as an all-female event, I mean, the more and more females are getting involved in jiu-jitsu, getting involved in grappling. And as I said, it should have happened a number of years ago. But obviously, here we are. We've had a couple. We had Enyo there at the weekend, last weekend, and we're going to have Grapple Queen. So let's hope going forward there's going to be more and more female events will come up. So anybody looking to head over to Ireland for the night can get tickets directly through the Grapple Queens Facebook page, or head over to Grapple Kings Facebook page, and you will get tickets directly from there. There's also going to be pay-per-view as well. So if your people can't make the event itself, they will be able to get it on Fight TV, and we'll give you more details about that at the end of the show. So now my next guest then is going to be on the show that night. So Moti Takwoingi of Nexus BJJ. So going to be part of the 8-women blue belt tournament. Again, an unbelievable 8 women are part of this tournament. So we talked about the different nationalities: Brazilian, Spanish, Canadian, Moti being Scottish, and obviously we're going to have some English, some Irish females on that as well. So an unbelievable mix-up of different jiu-jitsu styles, different grappling styles. So it's going to be a joy to watch. So obviously I'll be rooting for Moti, obviously the Scottish girl, so I'll definitely be rooting for Moti on the evening. So but Moti, that's an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for obviously taking the time to speak to me tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Yep. How's everything going with you then? Obviously at Nexus, how's your training going?
Yeah, it's really well because the head coach Kevin, I've known him for about 4 years now because I used to train there when I go back home from uni. So it's nice to be here full time now.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, is that you finished with uni now then? So uni's all done, or are you still to go back?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
all done. What was it you done at uni?
So I did psychology, and then I did a master's in cybersecurity and human factors.
Nice, nice.
Bit of a change there.
Yes, so I'm definitely a big change. Obviously, psychology, when I go into cybersecurity. So yeah, how long were you at uni for? Was it 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years because I did my undergrad was 4 years, and then I did the masters as well.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously all done. So was this year your last year then? So finished up what, earlier in the year?
No, I finished in 2020.
Right. Okay.
I think I graduated. Well, meant to graduate like November 2020, but obviously that got pushed back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you actually get a graduation? I know my son was he finished his uni in 2020, and unfortunately Glasgow Uni they didn't do, or I think it was Strathclyde University, they didn't do any graduation. So the only thing he got was the certificate in the post for his masters, and there was no party, there was no nothing at all, and even to this day they still didn't do anything for them. So did you manage to get a graduation and so on?
They invited us to it. I didn't want to go just because I've already had my undergrad one, and I'd known those people for a few years, whereas my masters, I was like, can't really be bothered to go back.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. And
But
then
at least
what are you doing? Are you working now doing it? Are you now, have you got yourself a job within that industry, or what's your situation now?
Yeah, so I'm just working, just trying to find what I want to do essentially.
Yeah,
So I'm not
yeah,
really committed to any one area at the moment.
yeah. What's jiu-jitsu for you? I mean, jiu-jitsu is definitely picking up. I mean, obviously, we talked about being on Enyo there at the weekend. Obviously, Grapple Queens coming up as well, and I'm sure you've got a lot of other things that you've visioned for going forward. So obviously for you, grappling's certainly taking up a lot of your time at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually because before the pandemic, I was doing MMA as well, and I was training so much. I noticed as soon as we went into lockdown, my grades went up. So I started getting loads of firsts, whereas before I was just like, I can live with the 2-1.
Yeah. so lockdown came at a good time for you then.
In a way, yeah.
Nice. We talked about MMA. Is that something you fancy doing again going forward? Because I know you were doing MMA before. So
Yeah.
is that something you would consider doing again at some point in the future?
Yeah, I do want to do it again because, I'm 25, so I've still got quite a lot of time to get back to it.
Yeah.
Because I was actually prepping for my second fight, and I think we went into lockdown either just before fight week or actual fight week. And I was like, I was watching the news and stuff. I was like, oh, do I still have to cut weight? Because I don't think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am getting FOMO now, especially like I know quite a lot of people who do MMA, and then I'm friends with people like Kate Bashik. They're going pro now, and I'm always
Yeah.
looking on Instagram. I'm like, maybe one more
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah. Oh, listen, we love the purple supernova. We definitely
Yeah,
love her. So
definitely.
Kate's awesome. Kate's one of these people as well. I mean, she doesn't care who she's fighting, as long as she turns up and there's someone there that she can
Exactly.
fight. So
Yeah,
she's she's absolutely crazy, but we love that type of crazy on the show, definitely. So
exactly. Yeah.
and then what about you then? So Grapple Queens. So as we mentioned, historic event. Obviously, you are part of obviously Enyo, obviously a historic event for the UK. So obviously this time going to be the Grapple Queens, which is going to be the first all-female event in Ireland. So how did you find out then that you were going to be on the show, Moti?
So I remember they announced they were doing like a female-only show, and they were like, "Oh, if you're interested, message us." So I messaged them, and then I guess they didn't see it because it just went into message requests, so they didn't open it. But I just kept
Yeah,
messaging them, being like, "Oh, I just wanted to follow this up." And I think it
yeah,
was maybe last month or maybe like 6 weeks ago. I was just like, "Hi, are there any spaces left?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, tell us your weight, we'll get you on." I was like, "Oh, thank God," because I really
yeah.
wanted to be on it.
It is. I mean, I know there was a lot of interest, obviously in the show. So I'd say a lot of females came forward and put their name forward with, and I know they were getting back to everybody as they went through. So I know there was a lot of people that only got back to like a month ago. That I know they're still announcing a couple of fights over the
Yeah,
last few days as well. So
awesome.
but definitely going to be a big show. I mean, Grapple Kings itself is an amazing show. As I say, the on pay-per-view as well. The same as obviously Enyo, obviously being on pay-per-view. So there's going to be a lot of people watching you as well, Moti. So obviously seeing how you do. What about people? Anybody heading over with you? Family, friends?
No, I'm just going on my own. But I
R-
know a few people who are on it anyway, so I'm not worried about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So you'll have someone in your corner though, obviously giving you instructions or shouting times and stuff like that to you.
Hopefully, yeah. I'll probably just grab someone on the day and be like, "Oh, can you corner me?"
Well, that's not all we need to know anyway is the time. How long have we got left? And
Exactly, yeah.
so that's all you need to know. So,
Yeah.
what about you then going forward? So, as we mentioned, obviously, we know that you love competing. You do love getting out there and doing your thing. So, what do you see yourself doing going forward? Obviously, after Grapple Queens.
I just want to try and do as many big competitions as possible. So I'm aiming to do no-gi Euros and then gi Euros in January as well. And
Yeah,
then I'm really enjoying sub only because I feel like if you're only doing the IBJJF rule set, you kind of fall into that trap of always playing safe, and you think, oh, if I go for this submission and I end up on bottom, I could lose, and that's quite
yeah,
a boring way of looking at jiu-jitsu. So just trying to get as much sub only experience. I've got hopefully another one in September, just waiting for that to be finalized, and then yeah,
yeah.
there's always events now. There's events like every week, so I'm sure I'll find
Yeah.
enough to do.
There is. I mean, there's a lot of events are popping up. As I say, a lot of different submission-only events all over the place. So, obviously, we talked about Grapple Queens. We talked about Enyo, Grapple Fest. Obviously, I've got, I think they've got 3 shows before the end of the year, October, November, December. So they're going to be very busy. Obviously, over in Liverpool, over at the Fusion nightclub, and then you have things like SGI in Scotland and so on. So there's going to be a lot of events popping up all over the place. So. And it's good as well. I mean, a lot of these shows, because like, I'll go back, like when I first started jiu-jitsu about 8 years ago, whenever shows came up, there wasn't any women, any females on shows at all, because there wasn't a lot of females doing jiu-jitsu. So whereas obviously now, we're now seeing on like let's say a Grapple Fest, we're now seeing like 6 female matches. I think was on the last one or the one before that. So you had 12 female fighters. So we're now seeing more and more events putting on a lot of female matchups, and then obviously coming to things like Enyo and Grapple Queens where it's an all-female event. So it's getting bigger and bigger. It's definitely getting bigger for females.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, that's what I like about Grapple Fest, actually. They put effort into putting on female matches, because obviously with stuff like Enyo and Grapple Queens, it's nice to have all females, but the end goal is to have everyone on one card rather than having women's jiu-jitsu and men's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I used to hate it as well. I mean, whenever you went to let's say a local comp, like local comps, maybe here in Scotland or wherever, and like females would enter, and like there would only be one person in the division and things like that. Whereas now we're seeing local comps where you're going in and there's like 10 women in a division, and there's maybe 3 or 4 different divisions. And actually we were laughing before we came on air. The women put on a lot better matches than the men, for sure.
Definitely, yeah. As I said before, I'm usually skipping ahead to the women's matches.
So I wish I could do that sometimes. I definitely wish I could do that sometimes. So what about you? Who's your idol? Who's the one person, who's the person that you look up to, that you aspire to be like?
I mean, I kind of hate using the word idol, because we're all equal in a way, but I mean, you have to mention Ffion Davies, obviously. She's putting in the work, got a black belt in like 5 years, her judo background, her accomplishments. Because I think, like, especially in women, you notice like people winning worlds, they're all Brazilian. And then you just got the little Welsh flag in there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's the thing as well. Ffion was obviously the first black belt, not just female black belt, but male or female. She was the first person from the UK ever to win a gold at the Worlds as a black belt, which again made history, absolute history. So and it was unbelievable for female jiu-jitsu, because a lot of people get into the sport. My daughter especially, she's only 14. She got into jiu-jitsu and she was like, "Dad, have you seen this Ffion Davies? Look at these videos." And she showed me videos, and she's absolutely loving it. And again, one of her favorite people is to watch is Ffion Davies. So and then she started watching. Who else did she watch? She was showing like Gabby Garcia. She was saying, "Dad, do you think I can get muscles like this?" And I'm like, "Listen, if you want big muscles like that, then fair enough, on you go." So, but she's getting right into it. So she's already planning competitions. She's only been doing it like 2.5 months, but she's already planning ahead. I'm going to do this competition. I'm going to win the Worlds. I'm going to win this. I'm going to win that. And I'm like, brilliant. So it is. It's always like when you first started jiu-jitsu, like when I watch her being so excited, I remember that's what everybody's like when they first start jiu-jitsu. No, you get that excitement and you're watching videos and you're doing all this, you're writing stuff down, and that's the stage she's at the moment, which is awesome to see. Really, really good to see. Yeah. So you're going to see her. So if you see Faith Henderson, she calls herself Mini Stoom. So obviously me being Stoomboy, so she's Mini Stoom, and everybody calls her Mini Stoom. So you'll probably see her at competitions at some point in the future. So keep an eye out. Definitely. Who would be your dream matchup? So let's say, for instance, you had to have a matchup against anybody, regardless if it was male or female or belt levels, weight divisions. Who would you love to be standing across the mat from in a competition?
Man, I don't even know. That is a good question. I'm not gonna lie, Keenan Cornelius.
Right, right.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite grappler ever.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, obviously he destroyed me, but it'll be fun.
yeah, yeah. I loved Keenan when he came out a few years ago, and he had the big argument about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and American Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that. There was a big documentary on, I think it was Flow Grappling, and like he calls his style of jiu-jitsu American jiu-jitsu, which annoyed a lot of Brazilians. So, but yeah, he said that we don't categorize it. Or everybody does jiu-jitsu, regardless if it's an American or Brazilian or Canadian or wherever. So
exactly.
yeah, but he's an awesome guy, really, really awesome guy. Definitely a strange style. Do you know what I mean? He kind of changed the game a little bit as well, where he brought in a different style of jiu-jitsu that nobody had seen and nobody was used to. And he definitely mixed up. He trained with a lot of different people all over the place, so he didn't really stick to one place. He did enjoy going out there and just training at a lot of different gyms, which is why he became as successful as he did. So
Yeah.
definitely a great person to be. Hope maybe one day, Moti. Maybe one day we might see that. And then final thing for you then. So obviously you've been in the game for a little bit. Obviously I'm sure over the years you've trained with a lot of great people. So but anybody you want to shout out to, so friends, family members, teammates, anything like that.
Yeah, so obviously I'd like to shout out everyone at my current gym, Nexus. I think we've got a really good team there. I like my training partners. Then also my old gym, Ipon as well. I know I saw a lot of them at Enyo because they're down south and I missed them
Yeah,
a lot and got a good team down there. So
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. What about family? Any family you want to say hello to?
Yeah, shout out to my family, I guess. I don't think I even told them about this interview, so I guess I'll have to show them the link now. But yeah, no,
Definitely.
obviously I always appreciate my family as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Both. So there we go, guys. We're going to have Moti Takwoingi, Nexus BJJ, fellow Scot. So obviously I'll be rooting for Moti come 3rd of September. I shouldn't really say that because I'm meant to be unbiased. I'm meant to be totally unbiased. But as I said, yeah, Scottish girl. I'm obviously going to be 100% behind Moti. So that's going to be Grapple Queens, Saturday the 3rd of September. It's going to be in Port Anybody looking for tickets, hit up the Grapple Queens Facebook page. And the pay-per-view is on this. Now, there's a couple of different options in regards to the pay-per-view. So there is the standalone price, I believe, is $14.99. But if you go for the monthly option, it works out at $4.99. I think it works out in UK money, it's about £4.19 per month. So not too bad considering obviously you've got all the Grapple Kings events, you've got Grapple Queens, as well as Grapple Fests and things like that as well. So it's definitely worth £4 a month. So yeah, make sure you do get to watch this. This is going to be historic. There's going to be some unbelievable matchups. Going to be a lot of fireworks in Portlaoise on Saturday, September the 3rd. But Moti, listen, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for obviously taking the time to speak to me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, listen, absolute pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your training. Listen, we'll catch up soon. Obviously, we'll definitely see if we can get you back to Scotland for an event or two.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be up for that.
Perfect. Well, listen, thank you again, and you enjoy the rest of your night. Okay.
Thank you. You too.
Take care then. Bye bye.
Bye.